Hey everyone, I'm one of those people that I really didn't think I could build a little studio in my house, and I did. So it's really tiny, and it's in a room with a lot of junk in it, and I wanted to show you what I put together. The first thing I set up is the Godox SL60W. It's a video light, and it's got a fairly standard, cheaper Godox diffuser on it. I can't remember how big it is, but I'll put the link in the description below. As you can tell, I'm not really a total studio guy. And if we step back here, you can see the whole studio. You've got a desk that was an extra desk that we had. And behind the desk, I have covering the windows a super beautiful purple and white sheet. It should be black, but that's all we had. That's the way it goes. I've got a mat board that is basically was $13 from Blick. You can go to an art store and get most of those. They got bunches of different color. I just kind of liked the light blue, kind of reminded me of a sky, which is kind of cool. And it is just clamped onto my desk with these two quick grips that my wife had because she is an awesome artist and she had them downstairs. So from there, I just got a tripod, a cheaper Surrey tripod. You can see right there. I'm not sure how to say that, but it was pretty inexpensive. I think 140 bucks or so. And then I've got the Sony a7 IV with the 90 millimeter macro, and that is my entire setup. So what we've got here is an ability to put these flowers in a situation where I could get at an angle with the light or multiple lights, because I could put up other lights too, and do some creative close-up photography. And I'll show you a couple of shots that I did with this setup right here. We've got a couple of the yellow sunflowers and then those purple thingamajigs. And I had a couple like leaves around here. And then I had this thing, whatever this is. This looks like a flower that's blooming. That just came with the flowers that I bought today. That randomly took some pictures of too. And through experimenting with my setup, what I would do is I'd set up my camera, move the flowers around in different spots. And for instance, if I wanted to get a shot just of the purple petals, I could do that pretty easily like that. And then I can move this around in the back in order to kind of show some yellow in the background. Using a wide aperture, I was able to blur that out. One of the fantastic things about having one of these Godox lights right here, and these are pretty cheap too, about 100 bucks, and I put them on a little Joby tripod. If I put it here and turn it on, we can see then that behind the petals, it begins to do a backlight to it, which changes from something like that to something like that. And then you can move that around and just change the brightness of the lamp to give you a different kind of feel and look to the photographs. It's pretty cool. So shooting wise, with the Sony a7 IV and the 90 millimeter macro, basically what I'm doing is I set the camera up on manual focus. So I'm just 100% focusing on exactly what I want. And then I've got the camera on manual exposure as well. So what I've done is, since I can control the situation and I can control the light output a little bit. This is not a very powerful light, so it doesn't go super, super bright. But that's okay because I'm using a tripod. And what I'm doing is I'm setting my ISO to 100. And that's as low as this Sony can go and get a good amount of dynamic range. So that thing's set to 100. And then from there, I've got the aperture. I vary the aperture from 2.8 if I want a shot that looks really kind of ethereal and surreal and you only have a little sliver of focus. Or I'll go to like f16 or even smaller to get more of the field of focus. And remember, the closer you are, the less depth of field you have. So when I'm getting really, really close, when I put my lens really next to the flower, I'm getting a tiny amount of depth of field. And that's where some people do focus stacking. So they'll take a photo in the front, middle, and background, and then focus stack. I don't do that. I think it's a pain in the butt, and I don't even like the look of that. I kind of like the amount of blur that happens in some of these macro shots. And that's about it. I just go and vary my shutter to get the right exposure. And I use an electronic shutter to stop the mechanical shutter from maybe moving the camera around a little bit. And I also put my camera on a timer. So a 5-second timer, I'll set the timer, take the picture. 5 seconds later, everything should be stopped moving, and it takes a very nice, clear shot, even when you're zooming in close. If you want to, you could also use a remote trigger, or you can use your cell phone to connect to your phone's or your camera's phone to the app, and then remote trigger from there, so you don't get any camera shake either. So that is, like, seriously the basic setup. You could do the same exact setup almost and just put it next to a window, and your light source is going to come in, and then you could put like a bounce over here to the right, bounce the light around. I'm still messing around with my studio, but if you wanted to get a shot like I posted on Instagram, or that's the cover of this video, this is the exact setup I did. Just a real quick and easy setup to get some amazing macro shots as we enter the end of summer, and we can go out and get some cool flowers and bring them inside. It's a rainy day outside, so it's perfect for this. And that's about it. If you have any questions, put them down below, and I'll be happy to help.